Hey there, peoples. It's me again. I just wanted to tell you that you are worthy. Don't be so hard on yourself. All of you out there. I mean that with sincerity. As humans, we tend to pick and poke and prod at ourselves and try to find all of our flaws. We do it all the time. I'm sure there are some narcissists out there who think that they are perfect and their shit don't stink, but we know that's not really true for everyone. That most people, they find these problems that we have. We look at our addictions, our shortcomings, maybe we get short-tempered at times, maybe we don't get enough sleep because we're partying, or maybe we were mean to someone, or uh, didn't give enough time with someone or our kids, or whatever it may be, right? A million things that we'll beat ourselves up about. I wish I would have done this, wish I would have done that. And I think that's okay. It's natural. It's something we need to embrace. But I think some people are way too hard on themselves about everything. And wherever you wanted to be in your life, whatever situation you think you should be encountering on your day-to-day basis, wherever you are, there you are. And I think most of the time that we beat ourselves up, it's over things that either we didn't achieve or a way to push ourselves to do better. And look, there are folks out there who are totally content to never do any better than they're doing today. And I understand that mentality. But there are also people who want to achieve and want to change and build their life and create new things for themselves. And if we don't achieve the things that we set out to achieve quick enough, people tend to freak out and think, "Oh my God, I'm getting old. I'm never going to accomplish, you know, all this stuff I wanna do in my life." And therefore, people hit 40 in their 40s and get to this midlife crisis, which is another thing that I made a video about a couple of years ago. It was called the happiness curve. Said that you're least happy in your 40s. Now, this was, of course, just an average, but that you're happy when you're young, but because you're still young, and as you get older, you start to realize you're moving towards the end, but when you move closer to the end, you realize it's inevitable and you embrace it. It's much more complicated than that, but it's really not, because I heard in a podcast the other day, I don't remember who it was or which podcast, but he said, the first half of your life, you're moving away from birth, and for the second half of your life, you're moving towards death. And the way that it was further explained really got me thinking about how perfect of a statement that was. It really is like that. It's not that you feel like you're going to die or you're worried about death. The whole thing is conquering that fear. The reason I bring death into it, and I hate to sound morbid, but other cultures around the world, they embrace death. It's a normal part of discussion. If people handle it differently in much of the world than in America, where people just don't even want to talk about it. They want to live forever and pump themselves full of botulinum toxin to make them look young and make them look like they're healthy. And I've wanted to talk about cosmetic surgery for years on YouTube, and every time I think about it, I'm like, no, I'm not going there, because I know that many people feel very insecure about whether they've had surgery or they feel like they don't like themselves and they want surgery. My thought is this: nobody should be cutting themselves up in order to look different to the outside world. If it's for health reasons, so be it. But the whole Hollywood thing, trying to look younger, pretending like you're still a kid, grow the fuck up and own your age. Own it. Because when you hide from death, you just look like an idiot. That's my opinion. I'm sorry if that offends anyone, but it shouldn't. I think people should think twice before they go under a scalpel and pay money in order to, and since I'm a guy that's sitting here with ripped jeans and my hat backwards, I can talk about these things. I was going to mention when I started the video that I've never worn my hat backwards in not in many years, and I thought about just how every time I see someone with their hat backwards, it's kind of a roll of the eyes, like, oh my God, put your hat on straight, dude, because that was such a '90s thing, you know, and '80s thing, but the whole long hair and all that, you know, I was that guy, you know, back in those days. And I had a lot of fun in the '80s and '90s. And when I met my wife and I started growing up and having to be responsible in my older years, you know, in my 20s, I started beating myself up over not bringing home enough money or wanting to move up in the world. I didn't know anything about life when I was young, and most people don't. Even if you live in today's world with the internet, and kids are a lot smarter, they have a lot, let's say kids have a lot more knowledge and information than we did when we were kids, but it doesn't make them smarter. Smarts come with experience and wisdom, and kids just don't have it a lot of the time. It's one thing to be able to talk shit online and post memes. It's quite another thing to be able to like filter your own water, or learn how to hunt, or even just, you know, not fear the outdoors. Like, it's a weird time to be alive, okay? And I it's like, at least in this country, people are so out of touch with themselves and the world. And therefore, I think a lot of the self-criticism and fear comes from this desire to achieve and become like others. You want to be the millionaire, you know? You want to have the cars and the bitches and all the crap that people talk about. I think it's just absurd. It's dumb. You know, I've tried to listen to some of the rappers that people have said, oh, these are great rappers, you know, because I like rap. And I'll be like, yeah, I don't like modern rap, it sucks. So I went and listened to a bunch of it the other day, a bunch of the Lil so-and-so rappers, Kendrick Lamar, I think that's his name, all these different rappers, and I was like, for the most part, they were all rapping about the same stupid shit. They were all talking about how much money they have and flexing. And it's funny because that's what I grew up on and laughing at. Like, as a kid, I realized how ridiculous it was for people to listen to this and really dream of achieving something like this. And hear me out, because the reason this relates to the topic is important. You know, everybody in the music industry and Hollywood, you know, kind of this dream of being an actor. When I was a kid, it was, go to Hollywood, you're going to be a rock star, you know. That day is long over, but there's still plenty of people who will, you know, be your manager and steal your money. But people want to achieve something great. So the internet fame thing has taken it a step further. And when people have a small YouTube channel, for example, or a small blog, and then they see these other guys who talk about certain, you know, hardcore topics, and they end up blowing them out of the water and getting millions of subscribers and donations. The point I want to make here is that rage bait is never worth it. To be authentic to yourself and continue to just talk about things that are really important to you. Like, that's what I've been trying to do for the whole time I've had my YouTube channel. And every time I feel like I'm not keeping up with the Joneses, like I should be able to make money, maybe I should be able to have millions of subscribers if I put in this much effort and just did this and this. And then that part of my brain kicks in. It wouldn't be authentic. And so I don't. And I think that as long as we're authentic and honest with ourselves, we won't fool ourselves into thinking we have to be more than we already are. And I have very mixed feelings on this because I want to achieve more in my life. Of course I do. I would love to retire, you know, content and be happy and have enough money to live and support my family without having to go to work every day. But do I really? I enjoy the struggle. I kind of like going to work. I like at least working or putting into effort to something. I've seen what it's like when we become complacent. Have a drink of my root beer. it's easy to become complacent. And when we do, we tend to look down on ourselves. But hopefully in the free time we have, we're absorbing knowledge, information, and converting that through experience into wisdom. Because wisdom will take us a lot farther in life than anything else. Even though we're putting ourselves down now, that's okay. But just acknowledge that you want to stop doing that and then move past it and become a person who can say, hey, I did my best. Or I did what I could. Or maybe I didn't do my best, but I didn't want to. I just wanted to sit on my ass and watch TV for a while. Whatever excuse you make up in your own mind is going to be up to you. I've had my own, and I've found that when I lie to myself, it doesn't work. I know how much effort I should put into doing the things I want to do, and it's important not to over-criticize ourselves. That's all. Just do what we can do. I'm going to go eat dinner. Thanks for listening. I'll talk to you next time. Be well.